something a little more tanky, given that there's only the Franco here. He could maybe look at the Karina, the Baxia perhaps as well.
Yep, they're gonna ban out the Atlas as the final ban from the side of RSG SG, so taking away a lot of AoE control from the side of Zion. Once again, I think we can go back to address, to me, what seems like a potential issue, right? You do have the pull from the Faramis, but who is going to follow up and protect you while you're trying to get that initiation started?
I think that right now the main question is if whether Faramis is going to play as a mage or a rogue. If Zion is going to be looking at a Faramis that is going onto a roam, it would have been great if Zion eventually has someone that can actually play more towards backlines and of course really work on to the high ground, such as Sicilian. Sicilian would have been great, especially since you can chain together with the Stampede plus Bad Impact or perhaps even the Sanguine Claws. But right now, we still don't really have a very good idea. They're leaving the final pick up to the opponents, up to RSG. That way, they will be able to get a better idea whether they want to go for a roam Faramis or a mage Faramis. RSG, they have quite a bit in their shoes right now. They still don't know Zion's main win condition and they can only rely on the fact that Popol and Koopa is the one.
Yeah, they are gonna secure a Barat and a Benedetta. Okay, one of your favorite heroes, that's right. So, okay, interesting. Barat as well as Benedetta, they are able to delay fights and provide huge bursts as well. Barat with the Swallow. It's gonna be quite irritating for the side of Zion, right? Mango can't jump the backlines, but he risks being taken away from the fights for a bit from Lolsie. So I think this is interesting.
Okay, so it's interesting how they actually picked the Barats here. We haven't seen Barats in the longest time.
Yep.
But the Barats is instinctively picked just for the Bowman, ensuring that the Bowman would not be able to get the double retribution in. So RSG, they are sticking to their keys to victory, and that is to win the early games, ensuring that the objective goes over to them.
Yep, I think maybe the only thing is that Barats doesn't have that much mobility as well, but we'll see how that works. The capability of isolating someone could be just as strong, like you said, the Bowman, or for the meta, it could be on Supergirl as well. Last pick here for Zion going to be the Lunox. So with that tanky lineup on the side of RSG, they're looking to burst them down with this, the Chaos Assault on the side of Azura X.
Yep, it's gonna be tough though. I don't exactly feel very comfortable with Zion's lineup so far. I can see how it works, but I think SG's lineup has a bit more versatility, right? They are able to kind of kite away the movements by Zion. They can cover their mistakes every now and then with the options they have from the picks so far. But of course, every game is an equal chance. We will see if they're able to get the farm up going in the laning phase, whether they can snowball. These two teams to me are the snowballers. They get things done, and when they get the track right, they will zoom down that road and go for the win.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here we are going in and exploring Sanctum Island. Zion versus RSG. Both teams, they do have a pretty interesting lineup, and I gotta have to say, they do amaze me at this point in time. RSG at this point, well, looking at Barats, I would love to play it around. I'd love to see how they play with this. But RSG, they do have lineups that do work pretty well into the late stages of the game, while Zion, they do have early stages of the game. But, you know, it really boils down to execution.
Alright, so if you take a look at the emblems, these are what they have in store for the teams. But I want to highlight something that Lolsie was doing just now, just right when the screen came up. Lolsie actually hooked away the Balmond, so Vanix away from taking the jungle camp, and so this allows RSG to snowball a little faster. Although the goal does not show this at this moment, that allowed RSG SG to have better rotations up to this point. And if you can take a look at the positioning by RSG SG, you can see that Lolsie has very, very clean objectives to fulfill. He wants to delay this Balmond for as long as possible, while Roy is handing it to Azura X in the mid lane.
RSG identified that for Team Zion, in order for them to win in the early stages of the game, most of it rests on the shoulders of Balmond. Balmond can play in the early stages by playing super aggressive, but I doubt that that is exactly what they're gonna do. Yes, he can be buffed up, and of course, with the help of the Cult Altar coming in from Faramis, Zion can just go all in right in the faces of RSG. But I don't think that that is going to be the case right here. RSG, the way that they're playing is super aggressive, and even as a Balmond, you can't just face in and dive 3-person. You know your limitations, and you can't just do it because Balmond is meant to do that.
Yep, it's going to be a difficult situation here. They do have 4 members, and it looks like they'll get it started.
Immediately, the Cult Altar is already popped, and I can't exactly tell who is dying and who is not. But one thing's for sure is that Vanix has already popped his own Cult Altar, or rather his own additional health. From all of that, we don't have a conclusive idea, or rather, we don't have any conclusion as to who actually won in that fight.
Yeah, but it is the turtle being secured by RSG SG as per usual, right? I would take it that RSG SG, this is a staple of their gameplay. Regardless of how the results or the kills turn out during the fights, they will secure the objective more often than not. So now this offers them a slight EXP lead, although they are trailing in gold by a little at this point. But it's a minuscule difference, so it doesn't really matter to them at this point. More importantly, they need to get the wave management down, and you can see they are jumping in the mid lane as well.
Both Diablo as well. Oh, there we go. Talking about mid lane, Azura X have managed to find himself a death to his name. A big L, at least for now. Understandably, when looking at Lunox, Lunox comes in pretty strong at level 4. When it comes down to Power of Chaos Darkening, you can definitely play very aggressively, or Power of the Order Brilliance in order to play defensively. Ooh. Zion moved himself onto Lolsie, brought him down to the grave, and say goodbye to him at least for now. The Cult Altar is going to be popped coming from Zion, and RSG returns in kindly with their own version of Cult Altar, moving onwards to Latte, allowing Diablo to pick off yet another kill.
So far, I would think that RSG has the advantage already, as they're going to try and catch out Roy, right? And it looks like they will commit for it.
Roy, his HP not looking very good. Lolsie would want to move on to the Zion, the escaping Zion, but did not quite connect because of the very intrusive creeps that were marching down the middle lane. RSG have got 2 kills ahead of Zion, but the gold lead does not tell too much of a story, with only 600 gold lead. And now that the turtle has just popped in, none of the RSG members have prepared themselves for this Lord. Turtle, and they did not put themselves in the brushes that could give a full wide view of the turtle. Until now, where BRAYYY moves in with a hook from Lolsie, connected down onto Azura X, brings him down almost immediately. No Cult Altar whatsoever, which is relatively unfortunate, but in the end of the day, it's a 1-for-1 trade. A Lunox trade for a turtle.
That's right. I think RSG SG did not like that trade at all. If you take a look at the wave management across the map, Zion is doing pretty decently, right? They are getting much more farm for themselves. Of course, RSG SG, so far, I think they have slightly turned the tables at this point. They have the higher farm. And I think Lolsie has to be very careful about his positioning, because he wants to provide space for babycakes. And with that, they're going to take the first tower on the top lane. In the middle as well, BRAYYY is going to be taken down in quick succession.
Unfortunately for Team Zion, they have tunnel visioned onto strictly objective. All they are looking out for is, let's help Balmond, because RSG has constantly been up in the horses of Zion and keeping it short, that Vanix will have a competition for these objectives. But one thing that I've forgotten is the fact that Beatrix is still in the game and still definitely one of the main win condition coming from RSG. Beatrix is already at 002, so he has got 2 assists to his name. He has destroyed the first turret in the top lane and is moving himself to the middle so that they can go for a big wide swap. With the itemization that popped up, the Blade of Despair is already available. That's 4k in the bag for this Beatrix, so that is big news for RSG. That is where most of the gold advantage is coming out from.
That's right. And if you take a look at the farm on both the hypers, on both teams, both of them have not died yet. So if if you're taking that into consideration, I would say it's still pretty much even. It can go anywhere. All it takes is just one fight to change the whole story for either team. And if you take a look at it, oh, okay, Vanix is going to jump in.
It doesn't seem like Lolsie will be able to get away scot-free though. The members from side of Zion immediately just went straight in and looked at Lolsie. So told him, you will not go away. Diablo, he's going to be responding kindly in return to the members of Zion. He hid himself inside of the brushes waiting for the members of Zion to creep right in. He returned in with Electo final blow, but was managed to leash a bit of damage from the side of Zion. Now, the counter attack coming from RSG themselves did manage to give them extra life and as well as a lot more aggressive options to move on to Zion. Bring Azura X down as well as moving on to bring down the first defense turret as well as the hook plus that ultimate. That is one heck of a hook and a bite.
Well, level 9 for babycakes already after taking, I mean, they lost that turtle to the side of Zion, but they do get 2 kills in succession for that. So I think it's a wonderful trade for the side of RSG, and they're going to push the fight even further, but Lolsie might regret his decision.
Quick little flicker, but the hook fell short just by a tad little bit, literally. But unfortunately, Zion, it is not going to be the end of the demise just yet, because RSG, they have gotten themselves quite a bit of control. RSG took the entirety of the river for themselves. They managed to destroy all of the first tier defense turrets, while Zion have yet to do any of that.
Yep, Zion is playing a bit more passive in this stage, but for good measure, right? You can see the lanes across all 3 lanes. The turrets are already, suffering quite a bit with the top tier 2 being so low. And the rotations by RSG are making much more sense for them at this point, because Zion now, they're going to be forced to try and travel as a unit. And it looks like Benedetta might suffer the fate if he gets caught out.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes down to fighting against Zion, you wouldn't want to play in a very coordinated fashion by all 5-man death ball onto Zion. You can do that per se, but RSG's lineup allows them to play in a split composition because of the Benedetta. That alone has unlocked quite a bit potential and put a lot of pressure onto the other side. While all of this is happening, Benedetta is actually pushing down the bottom lane. RSG bought so much time. They used the cold altar that they sapped away from Zion because they know that they will be able to get themselves away scot-free. Because remember this, the opponent's Faramis is playing as a roamer, while the Valentina is the one that stole away the ultimate. So Valentina is a mage. You have the magical skilling to make his cult altar even better. As such, it is going to be a suppress down to the side of Vanix. That is no more Bowman coming from the side of Zion. That is going to be a push coming in from Bray. They are working it on and they brought down the Lord.
One simple mistake from the side of Zion and they got punished extremely hard. Right before they were taking the Lord, they only had 3 ultimates up on the side of RSG, and what they did was wonderful. They actually delayed the fight slightly so that they had all 5 ultimates on hand, and you can see how painful they are and how punishing this lineup is when Zion makes the mistake of giving them time and space.
A 5,000 gold lead for RSG, and they have the Lord marching in the northern side while they continuously put more pressure in the middle lane. They are stalling it a bit, freezing it a bit, allowing the Lord, the bottom lane and the middle lane to push in together. The bottom is forced to go down to the bottom side, the rest of the units in the middle side, and for the top lane, well, the Lord is trampling, or rather, he's surfing it.
Yep, the wave management by RSG as impeccable as ever. They are going to have the Lord marching down the top lane, and it looks like they want to mount this defense. But Zion, they are not looking good. It's very tough. Everyone is still so healthy. The Lord is healthy as well.
It does seem like the Lord will be dropping down right as you speak about healthiness, because Zion knows exactly what they are looking out for. Top lane, middle lane, inhibitor turret taken down. How about bottom lane? They are just going to be wrecking havoc as much as possible. Bray's HP is looking darn good. He managed to run away with so-called teamwork.
Yep, simple job by RSG there. I mean, they have taken all the 3 tier 3 turrets in the base of Zion, and they are ready to reset, right? The next Lord is only coming up in the next 85 seconds. Plenty of time for them to reset the wave management, put the pressure on Zion. Now, it's really up to Zion to make the mistake and RSG will really just tear them apart from here.
An absolute barren wasteland. We're looking at the Sahara Desert
Yup,
that is
exactly.
coming in from the side of Zion's base.
And I mean, at this position, all they're waiting for on the side of RSG is for Lolsie to just land a hook.
And they're also technically waiting for the Lord to come out for them to try to steal. That is the best case scenario here. They are just constantly managing the wave. They're killing every single one of these waves because we all know for the matter of fact that MLVP, you just need to make sure that the core is dead. Defend your core. Main thing. The Lord comes out in 40 seconds and you need to find a way to help Vanix advance. He is level 13, yes, while BRAYYY is level 15. You will lose in the retribution fight. But you're talking about Bauman here.
Yep, exactly. That double retry is one of the keys to victory based on the lineup across on Zion. But here's the thing. Zion, I think, like you mentioned before at the start of the game, they tend to tunnel vision, and it seems to be hurting them extremely bad. Diablo doing his usual Diablo stuff and taunting right in the middle of the lane. But bear in mind, RSG, SG, they know how to deal with Zion. They are always looking for the split fight and split push as well. Every single time they're fighting, Diablo, most of the time, he will not be there. He will be always at the bottom lane pushing in the waves or trying to set up kills for the rest of the team. And I think it's going to be a tough situation for Zion because now the Lord is here. He has arrived and it looks like RSG are in prime position to get this.
Well, we do have the Trident coming in from the Lord, ready to impale the hearts, the chest, and every single parts of the bodies from Zion. There is absolutely nothing for Zion to do. They can't just wander into the brushes because they are scared of Lolsie. Right? A single bite is all it takes to bring one person down. So they can't afford to do anything. The only thing that they can do is stay home now. Stay home, slowly skill up. But the lead is a little bit too high.
Yep, they are unable to pressure RSG, SG mentally. The fact that you can have Roy just focusing on using IMU solely on the cult altar means he really doesn't care about anything else, right? That's the only thing he has to focus on. And when you have that RSG, SG who is like mentally sound and capable, it's difficult to fight against that.
Yep, and that is a single snipe coming in from babycakes, dropping Azura X HP all the way down low. Both of these teams have managed to pop themselves with the cult altar, but they know that they don't have to take a fight with the cult altar. Let's just destroy the core. This is true game from RSG. They really did not even break a sweat just from looking at it, and it all starts off from the draft.
That's right. RSG, you can see the